Call the Lisbon Village Board meeting to order on Wednesday, August 9th, 2023 at 6:33 PM. Roll call, please.
President Osterman,
Here.
and trustee Plotecker. Here. Trustee Moonen,
Here.
trustee Beal. Here. Trustee Quinn. Here. Attorney Macy. Administrator Nicollet. Here. Treasurer Gerard. Here. And clerk Catch to record the minutes. We also have DPW Director Joe DiStefano, interim fire chief Michelle Greger, and utility administrator Mike Sargent present in the audience.
Thank you. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 3 is comments from citizens present. Does anyone here wish to make any comments? Anyone on Zoom?
If anyone on Zoom wants to comment, please use the raise hand function. No hands raised on Zoom.
Item 4 is the consent agenda. Items listed under the consent agenda are considered in one motion unless a village board member requests that an item be removed for separate consideration. We have the July 12th, 2023 village board minutes, the July 26th, 2023 special village board minutes, Harvest Ridge 3 letter of credit reduction in the amount of $127,209 for a new balance of $131,038.64. We have the Hillside Ridge 2 letter of credit elimination and the pay request number 2 for LBPE improvements to Utah Peterson in the amount of $1,388,048.90. Does anyone wish to remove any of those items, or is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I have a question. In the paragraph, it says construction of the Hillside Ridge, and then it says in the next one, construction of the Hillside Ridge. Is it supposed to be that way? No, dear, on the letters. As they're different developments.
My guess is that Mitch just copied and pasted.
Yeah, okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Amounts. Still got a silver alert going on apparently. Let's see, 27. The amounts are okay though.
Yes, the amounts are okay. And the subject matter lines are correct. Subject matter lines are correct, but your person.
Do we need to do anything with that? No, nothing. Okay,
Just note that it's supposed to be construction of the Harvest Ridge and not.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Wish to remove anything, or is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Moved by Becky to approve. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Linda. Any final discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 5-0. Item 5, accounts payable, authorizing the payment of the Falls Auto Parts bill dated 6/29 for $506.26 and 7/13 for $324.85. Is there a motion on that check register?
I make a motion, we approve both of those amounts.
Okay, Linda, is there a second? Second by Mark. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Item B, authorizing the payment of the, another Falls Auto Parts. Authorizing the payment of the Falls Auto Parts bill dated 7/26 for $432.19. Is there a motion on this check register?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Paula, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Item C, authorizing the payment of the remaining bills dated 7/26 for $386,969.84. And on 8/4 for $1,552,497.26.
I have a question. The amount, the new valve at Hamilton High School on page 5, it's $8,093.46. Is that at our cost or do we turn around and bill them?
You're actually gonna put that. Got an email sent. We were going to charge, it, but what? I'm sorry, this one we are not charging. I got charged for, Lisbon and, Sussex sent out a bill for the valves for Hamilton. And then we just got an email today that said, to not worry about that invoice due to the fact that Hamilton won't make the set aside time for the valve to put in. I was unaware that the valve was already put in when the invoice was for them. So next time we'll make sure that the invoice is when they're actually.
Why do we have to pay for them?
Because there are Hamilton school districts are in our village and it's we are actually splitting it. There were 2 valves and we're splitting both valves for. We're going to pay for one. We're going to pay for the other. What happens is, if something happens on one end, we can't open up the other end without valve shut off the rest of it. So if something happens at Hamilton, we need to be able to get Hamilton still be allowed.
Okay.
Water
And where are those valves?
on the Hamilton school district.
Oh, I know that, but where? Just curious, is that, you know? You don't know? Oh,
These in the mains.
Yes,
So they're in the mains, they're not in,
you're not in the school.
In the
On
school.
property, on the property.
Okay, all right, thank you.
do you have a list of the top tables that you want to? Yeah.
All right, so I've got the construction for Hugh Peterson, $1,388,048.90. $71,928.28 to Mike Twenty Construction. $36,090.90 for your building inspection, $13,896 for permanent building industry, and the $8,000, $8,093.46 for Sussex, which we're going to. And we have also $36,074.86 for premier building for the check run reports 6:30 to 7:13. $25,686.25 during $9,089 for municipal law mitigation, $7,500 for Brian, $5,530. And then finally, the remainder of the bills for David 6/16 to 6/29 was $80,224.53 for U.S. Bank Court, $8,915.94 for treasurer, $46,979 for Wild Lake Country Garage Door, and $14,106 for municipal law and finally $11,436.
So the 291 bill, I don't see on here.
So accounts payable item A is a carryover from the July meeting because we did not have a quorum to approve the Falls Auto Parts bills. The remainder bills were already paid.
But this is $291,000, not Falls. So is this one, or was this one last meeting?
That was July.
Okay, so this is already handled.
Yep, that one's already handled. The only part was, and my fault for reading, the only part.
The Falls portion.
Was correct.
Sure. Okay. That makes sense.
Ask for your approval.
So the
I-
remaining on that one check, so instead of 1,552,497.26 would be 1,544,403.80.
Yep, that's what I got.
Okay. I have a question. On the municipal well and pump for the fire department. Is that out of the village's expenses or is that the fire department? Because it doesn't say fire department. Right, okay, is this from the extra ARPA? Okay, that's all I needed to know. Thank you. And also because with some of these bills are older, are we being charged a late fee or anything on any of these? Okay, I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion on the check registry?
I'll make a motion, which that
See.
we approve the check register as presented.
For the 1,544,403.80.
Yes, I don't have that written
Okay.
down, but I'll take your word for it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Linda, any discussion?
Are you including the check register dated 7/26 also, or just the one dated 8/4?
No, I'm doing both.
Mhm.
Second was good with that.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 5-0. And finally, we have authorizing the payment of the utility district bills dated 8/2 in the amount of $5,365.20.
Have maintenance repairs with $470. Along with $8.50 and tax management. And $1,434.70. I ask for your approval.
Can I ask Mike or, why is you do a great job, Mike, but why is yours so high this much? Because of all the extra time you're putting in trying to get everything cleared.
Properties. Went through all of them. Order reads, everything, going back in 1989 to 2000.
Okay, thank you. I make a motion, we approve as presented.
Moved by Linda to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Becky. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 6, we have announcements of correspondence. We have the Public Works and Utility Committee meeting on Wednesday, the 16th at 5 PM here at the Village Hall. We have the Joint Public Hearings and Plan Commission meeting on Wednesday, the 23rd at 6:30 at the Richard Young Fire Station. Next Park Committee meeting is on September 13th at 5 PM here at the Village Hall. And then the next Village Board meeting will be the 13th of September at 6:30 at the Village Hall. Does anyone else have any other announcements or correspondence? All right, item 7 is Administrator Report.
Right, so, I sent you the Matt Client report earlier this month. July, we had one property that was closed, one was closed. One's in probate, 2 are on extensions. I had set up account for all of our fire members. There's been emails, health, dental, vision, and life insurance as I've been looking at. I reviewed the state health insurance plans. Went through it with the employees, and the employees voted it's about a 50-50 that they want me to bring it forward to you. Or not. It's a great benefit, but unless you want me to bring it forward, I wasn't going to do it since our employees weren't really excited about the extra costs. I also met with R&R for health insurance. They work with the league members. Yeah. And R&R is a broker, just like Hortons, that would make the use of Hortons, but would give us a different broker that would find us multiple health insurance claims. Liability, work, and insurance. I met with the League of Municipalities, mutual insurance, and cities and villages, mutual insurance companies. Get quotes on coverage. I'm still gathering information from the departments, and information will be sent to them. They'll give them the same for both both insurance companies. That's something that we by the October 11th meeting. We're meeting with what we're finding in. Cyber insurance, business insurance, this year, if you remember, I sent you an email, I came in very expensive, like $6,000. Both companies, that I'm trying to get liability and more time quotes from, they also carry cyber insurance. And we'll bid on that as well, but with my discussions, it came up that we needed to put on multi-factor authentication on our emails and our administrator accounts or any remote virtual accounts. So when I spoke with one place, they didn't think it was a problem doing it, other than they thought that people aren't always real positive about having to do multi-factor authentication. This process would take about 60 days to implement. We would have to have this in place if we were going to get a new policy and bring down those costs. We are having a few of our employees that aren't excited about using their personal phones to use for the MFA, so that's something to consider as well. We also have to have a endpoint detection, which detects any kind of threats that are coming in from our system. We do have something for one click, but we want to make sure that it's that the insurance companies feel that it covers enough of them. At the July teams meeting, we had PNC do a identity theft prevention product to the staff. I also started by sending out security hints for the use of passwords and use of our email and computer systems. I'm trying to do that on a monthly basis. A requirement of training on security is required by our current cyber liability insurance company. Ryan exercised the extension that was in the written agreement for the parcel on Richard Road. The one that has a lot of I'm working on non-metallic mining ordinance. We'll talk about that later on in the agenda. We have completed one click completed their work on changing all our emails to lisbon.wi.gov. I set up the volunteers for National Night Out. That was a success. I'm working on CPI for 24 to 29. So we're going to discuss that later in the meeting. Found the July 2020 boundary agreement, but Merton was never finalized. And there were 5 tax deeds that were supposed to be transferred or attached from Lisbon and attached to Merton. At the September meeting, I'll have an ordinance for you to that needs to be approved, so I can file it with the state and get those properties over to Merton. It won't take effect until 2024 because the transfer wasn't done yet, so it doesn't go backwards. So it will not affect our current roads that we're going to be collecting. Brighton Foundation has donated $946.00 for the Brighton Waterfall Garden Project. If you remember, we talked about that at a special meeting, and the idea was that they thought that Brighton was paying for it, but it's not. It's the foundation put together for them, and we wanted that to go there. So Chief Grager appointed Mike Mark as the second chief starting full time next week on Monday. And then I have some bids on departments. If you want me to read it out, or okay. The clerk drafted various ordinance summaries as needed and sent to newspaper for publication. Coordinated application process for operators, tobacco and alcohol related licenses, process dog license, sample site passes, parking citations. park reservations and special assessment letters. Received review and response to record requests for a large volume of electric related documents and 2 small record requests for property information coordinated with the planner and administrator for the floodplain ordinance submitted to the DNR and NFLP. In highway, they removed and blacked up former police access door on their building prior to painting it along the Grass Drive. Poured sidewalk at the fire station that was during the whole paint replacement. Rented a mastic wagon and corrected the village road dips and heavy cracks throughout the village. Parks Department maintained all baseball fields and soccer fields for games spent considerable amount of time meeting this last month, and then performed maintenance and cleanup at LCP for Community Fest, spread chips around the playgrounds where needed. The Director of Public Works spent time with the Parks Division to attend to their concerns. Worked with contractors on the salt shed, building maintenance and road paving. And has been working on the capital budget items that are on the agenda today. Fire, there were 5 fire calls, 40 medical, 10 CLS intercepts, 4 inter-facility transport, 5 village accidents. We received mutual aid 88 times and gave mutual aid 8. I think that was 8 times, 88 times. Sheriff is 82, traffic stops 46, citations 32, verbal warnings 47 times, assisted the fire EMS 81 building checks. There were 35 911 hang-up calls and 14 alarms. And 21 follow-up investigations. 4 department reports as well as the marketing report will be mailed to you. Any questions?
Yes, I do. Could you please tell us, like, maybe when we have our meetings once a month, how effective those monitors are from the sheriff's department that we okayed?
Okay, so we have one that is installed.
Right.
We do not, I mentioned that in my, the other one is not installed at this point. We do bring that information to the Public Works and Utility Committee. They're in gave that information, but I'd be happy to bring it forward for the rest
Maybe,
of the works of this.
Right.
What's happening. I did ask if there's a way that we can be notified if the sheriff's department decided to change the data that they're collecting on the flag, if they're planning on changing the time it's being held for more than 30 days. Notify us if that was.
When I read some report, there was something about there was some money being brought in because of that. Is there money being brought in for that? You know, like they're not giving out any tickets or anything like that because of the flock, correct?
I think they're doing, I think, and Mark, you could probably answer this better than I, but I believe what this staff helping is on our investigation. When we're trying to look for somebody.
Right. Oh, I know.
Get them that way, but does that increase our tickets? I'm not sure about that.
But are you talking about the traffic data collection systems? Like
Yeah.
the speed signs that we approved, or the flock system?
The flock system,
So the flock system is an LPR license plate reading system that
right? Well,
you'd have to have a registry off of a stolen vehicle. Or there to be a plate that's entered for the vehicle of interest that may be in connection with a prior crime. But they're not used for speed enforcement, they're not used
Okay.
for ticketing.
okay, I understand what the flock is for, but when I read this, there were some dollars amount in there and I was just kind of confused, so.
That's
That's
the email you sent out,
Oh, good.
that you said at the beginning that the one flock system was in use, and then in the next paragraph, you gave the information from Lisa about what tickets had been.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Thank you. And so what that email was concerned about was kind of to give you a heads up that the department is not going to make their revenue amounts, and they were showing you, some of that is due to the fact that we had a very short, spring,
Weight limits.
yeah, with them.
Yeah,
And so, we didn't have, the large tickets that we
okay,
received normally. But, so Lisa wanted to, let me know that it was, that she was not gonna make a budget, when it came to revenue. I wanted to pass that along.
okay, thank you.
That flood. Whatever it is that on 164?
The black,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
one will be on. I think one is on, once, the one that's going to be put on is gonna be 164 and 2. I think the other one might be on Lisbon.
There's one in Lisbon Town.
Oh,
There's
okay.
another one, I think. on
Yeah, Tomlin. There's what?
There's one in Athens.
Stephanie, do you know where they? I know I have it in an email, if you'd like. me to-
Okay, no, I just wondered, because I
Yeah.
saw something that it was smaller, but it's on the telephone pole at the intersection of Hillside and Beverly.
No,
And I thought,
that's a DPW road monitor for.
oh, okay,
The ones, the flock systems on Main and Town Line and, sorry, Silver Spring and Town Line and also Lisbon Town Line.
Okay,
And then there's 2 going in on the state highway that haven't been installed yet because it's held up in the permit.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Nope.
All right, thank you, Kathy. Item 8, treasurer quarterly report.
All right, I will start off with some training efforts and general updates before moving on to the financials. In a couple weeks, I'm planning to train Lisa on the garbage occupancy process to assist with special charges, reconciliation at tax time. The last 2 months, I've been working with Jasmine, cash receipting in our software, and that's going well. I transitioned the credit card receipting to make better use of our software as of my July reconciliation. I completed the year 2 Treasurers Institute last month, where I mentored 15 first-year treasurers and earned points for my municipal treasurer certification through those efforts. I registered for a few district meetings, key topics to include impact fee management, levy limits, debt service strategy, and shared revenue updates. I'm planning to attend the Fall Treasurers Conference next month and received a $100 scholarship. Just general notes, our credit card rebates are over 5,000 quarterly due to moving the waste management bill to credit card. So we worked on adjusting when we pay that large waste management bill to benefit from turn rate and extra incentive rates on top of the standard percentage. Lisa is gathering our AP vendor info for US Bank to analyze the possibility of moving more checks to credit cards, and this is a free service they offer, where they'll analyze all of our vendors. The approach is twofold: for rebate purposes and increase our interest income, but also fraud protection, since it's much easier to cancel a credit card and reissue. During training, I learned about updating our financial and investment policies, and it is on my to-do list. We will bring our policies to the village board for review as a future agenda item. So moving on to financial position, that would be the packets I have for you. The first document is the summary doc I'll speak to, and then the second page is investments. The rest of the pages are line item details, and so those add up to the different categories listed on the first summary doc page. So starting at the top with revenues, as of the end of June, we've received 79% of our budgeted revenues. Upcoming revenues are approximately 1.3 million in aids. That includes the Corey payment and August settlement. Those are down below. Tax settlements are balanced with the exception of August, and we received 81% of our tax revenues. Our intergovernmental revenue, you can notice there it's 38%, so just a little lower as of June. We are receiving many of them in July, which are also noted down at the bottom. The total expenditures account for 42% of the budget as of June 30th. If you include the capital we levied for in the general fund, that's the $550,000 transfer out to capital sinking fund, we're at 51%. Upcoming debt payments take us through year end there with a total of 49,000 in interest, or 59,000 in interest, excuse me. You'll also notice that the departments are all in a healthy position at this mid-year point, under 50%. Moving on to investments, so that's page 2. The total investments as of June are 11.647 million. Total interest earned for Q2 is 151,000. Or 151, thousand, sorry, which is 20 times the Q2 of last year. It's 50 times Q2 of 2021. Our interest income remains steady since rates are still increasing despite even some spend down. We've earned 2.5 times last year's total interest at mid-year. Looking ahead into July, the CDs, I have those listed there. There's new rates, 4% as of January. Those old rates, you can see them there, and there's a sizable amount of interest increase. So we're, as of July, I received over 6,000 in the semi-annual percentage due to those rate negotiations. So we can expect another 6,000 in 6 months. So in terms of like long-term planning, my plan is to open some CDs when the time is right and further diversify, possibly with treasury bills. That being said, I'm keeping a really close watch on the rates monthly as our money markets are earning high yields this year. So currently LGIP just posted at 5.15% in July. And due to our TID bills, I have been keeping funds extremely liquid as well. And the matching of those LGIP rates and our money markets have supported this strategy and effort. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? All right, thank you. Item 9, Utility District Quarterly Report. Mike.
Good evening. The utility has been operating very close to its budget. Revenues have exceeded where we thought they would be at this time, mainly because of the wet spring and the amount of extra flow that flowed through the system to the commercial accounts. So we see that our revenues are a little bit higher and our cost of processing waste are also correspondingly higher. Our utility expenses to We Energies were also higher related to the flows of the early spring. We're doing well with interest on the investments of the cash that we have invested. And we've already reached 100% of the annual budget because of the rates that are currently in place. Repair and maintenance, we've used up pretty much all the budget this year, which is pretty standard. It's heavily skewed at the beginning of the year to pay for the inspection of the grinder pumps and certain other expenses. So we're right where we expected to be at this time of the year. At the end of June, the unrestricted cash was in excess of $528,000, which compared to $491,000 at the end of the 2022. The CMAR report that you approved the resolution at the last meeting was filed, accepted by the DNR, and that case is now closed. Yeah. Any other questions?
Anything for Mike?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Item 10, unfinished business. We have a discussion and necessary action regarding non-compliance order for Christine Cole.
So you have in your packet, the letter from David concerning whole property. We gave her until the 8th to get the property in compliance. They did send me, I do have a copy of their signed purchase agreement. They're going to be closing August 7th. They'd like to be able to have until September 5th to the day after Labor Day to
get everything moved and start moving. Asking for an extension. From August 8th to September.
Are they asking for an extension to keep operating a business or just to keep their stuff there?
Well, there's nothing wrong with keeping it. There's-
Right, that's why I mean,
They're asking for operating.
And I'm sorry, could you remind us, when did we give this to them and have we given them an extension before?
Yes, we gave them
That's what I
60 day extension. So August
That's-
8th, and then I think it was to stop running the business. And the garage.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
there's an end coming.
Pardon me?
There's an end coming.
Is it what?
I mean, this shows an end.
Yes, oh, that way. Yes, 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 I agree. You know,
Discussion? Paul, anything?
mm-mm.
Linda?
It is what it is. It is what it is, and if they need it, it's not that much more time.
Becky?
No, I'm fine with them.
Mark?
Okay.
Somebody want to put that in the motion?
I'll make the motion to grant the extension for Ms. Christine Cole
Until September 5th, 2023.
Right, Becky, is there a second?
I will second, but you should also add maybe to Nick Coleman, both of them. It's two people, isn't it?
Krista is, Christine is the actual property.
Okay. Okay, gotcha, thank you.
The motion is okay with keeping it how it is?
Mhm.
Good.
Oh.
Most communities don't grant an extension and direct the staff. The point I'm trying to make is if they never close the prison, you want to go back to day one. And I don't want them to say, you granted me extension to illegally out. You cannot technically grant an extension to illegally out. Pursuant to your policy of sending a letter and giving it time and your enforcement policy, all you're really doing is directing staff not to issue this. There's a big difference, because I don't want anyone to say that the village board gave me told me I can illegally out. So that's-
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
We've done it unfortunately this way numerous times. so
I've never been here. I just feel
Maybe
like
we need to have you here a few more meetings.
I just feel like it'd be remiss not.
Yeah, no, that's-
Or extend directing staff not to issue that citation. We do that when people apply for conditional use. We do that while people are cleaning up the property. But that's technically what you're doing. But this is a little different. But you're really saying the staff is directed to issue that letter. And if we hear nothing from them, do issue a ticket, correct? If they come in pursuant to the compliance letter, you can take and ask for additional time to get into compliance. But it is really just telling the staff. As I always warn people, and somebody got really upset at me a couple of weeks ago when I said, well, they can grant you the extension, but if you don't get it done by that date, we can go all the way back to June and issue you tickets starting in June, and you got furious with me.
We do anyway.
But that's the law, buddy. I mean, you're violating at your own risk.
Mhm.
We can't give you permission to violate the law. You're proceeding at your own risk, that if you don't get into compliance or whatever. We can go back. So it's just a technicality. And it's only because somebody's breaking the law. You can give them
Right.
more time to get into compliance with some of these stuff. So,
Mhm.
Well, in our last extension, though, we did make it clear that they can't operate the business. Is that something we need to reiterate in this extension?
well, then what are they asking? The only thing that's illegal is operating the
Correct.
operating the- It says that you've been in this extension, telling them they can't operate. And then you break the code.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if it's just
I don't
limited
remember,
to the
but-
business, we We discussed that in our last extension request.
Yeah, pull it up. I believe you. Well, this is a little bit of a predicament.
At this point, if you want to make a motion to direct the staff not to take it until the. Then. Thank you.
Can we amend this motion or we have to vote on this one?
Or can I withdraw it?
Like modify your wording? in there?
I'll modify my wording to say
Would you like to clarify?
we are asking the staff not to issue a citation until September 5th.
I
Second,
second.
okay with that? All right. So I guess I'm gonna ask the question, and we technically didn't do this last time, though.
Not in the manner presented by the attorney. What the intent was.
I said it's a technicality. I'm more concerned about what you thought you were extending last time around. You're saying
Oh,
that
that's
you told them they couldn't operate,
It's probably $1 million question right there, John.
but the administrator was understanding that the intent of the motion last time was to not issue the ticket.
Yeah.
And I have a question. When they say until September 5th, what does that actually mean? Does that mean 12:01 AM on the 5th, they should be out, or 11:59?
They don't have to be out technically at all.
I
They just
know.
can't operate the business.
I know, but I'm just saying,
It's just until then, that's probably.
Right.
It's just there.
Yeah.
Once they start taking down the shop and bringing it to the other locations.
okay,
Just can't move very quickly.
okay.
Well, before we confuse ourselves anymore, let's vote on this. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Item 11 is the closed sessions pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85 parent 1 parent G for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is not likely to become involved, more specifically regarding sewer connections and related unpaid connection fees. And pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85 parent E for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating purchasing of public properties, investing in public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. More specifically regarding snow plowing contract with Lannon and the contract compensation and benefit study. Is there a motion to adjourn in the closed session?
I'll make a motion to move into closed session.
Moved by Mark, is there a second?
I'll second.
Paula. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Quinn,
Yes.
trustee Beal,
Yes.
trustee Moonen.
Aye.
Trustee Plotecker
Aye.
and President Osterman.
Aye. Be entering at 7:16.
For those of you participating on Zoom, I am going to place you into a waiting room and I am going to pause the recording. We will readmit you to the meeting once we come out of closed session. Okay, welcome back, everyone.
Back at 7:49. We have recessed the closed session until later on as we have staff here. Item 13, Public Works and Utility Committee referrals. A discussion necessary action regarding the LOI for purchase of a new skid steer for Bobcat for an amount not to exceed $33,298 after trade-in.
I don't know how much detail you want me to get into here, because we had this conversation at the Public Works Committee, but these basically, both items on here are no strings attached, placeholder, possibly, basically just so we have our name on a list to lock a price and potentially have a piece of equipment for 2024. If so happens, that we, for you guys, approve it for the budget for next year, which I know we're not gonna answer that question tonight, which is fine. It was just, that was the purpose of those two items, so I'm either brought back onto here. I don't know if Mark has more information on that or not, but or what you want to know from me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we, at the committee level, we just heard, we didn't necessarily make a final approval on anything. One thing that was nice for us is that the trade-in value was nice. However, we did see an increase, I guess, there is a balance left between the $103,000 purchase price and the 46,000 trade-in value. So that's a decision, I guess, we have to make as a board, is getting and replacing this piece of equipment worth 57,000.
And when we say replace, we're not replacing it with the same thing. We're replacing it with a track machine. So as of this past year and last couple of years, we've rented a machine a couple times to use the track machine for grading, ditching, culverts, the park projects, etc. And what this machine will do what the tire machine does that we currently have. So we basically would just be selling the tire machine, getting, and I actually looked, I was wrong. We paid 37,000 only for the John Deere. So we'd actually be getting back almost $9,000 more than what we paid for it on this trade-in value, or whatever, even though I know it is more to purchase the new one. And then, you know, and that's the purpose of it. So, you know, I don't want to say we're selling a 2020 here and you're getting on 23, 3 years, guy. We're not that lucky. This is, we're switching into a track machine. So different piece of equipment. And like I said, the letter of intent, I have the emails to prove everything. There's nothing where we're locked in on these. It's just so we are there in case we do approve it. There's no price increase between, you know, a month ago and 2 months from now when maybe everything's approved. And then, because basically the world we live in right now is, if you don't want a piece of equipment, I would assume this probably goes the same with an ambulance. If you bail out of an ambulance, the next municipality is waiting for the ambulance or the piece of equipment or a truck, anything right now. They're not building things like they used to. So these lines and deadlines, timetables, whatever, are a lot longer than they used to be pre-pandemic. And so now you just gotta, you gotta do things differently if you want to stay on schedule. Otherwise, you think, oh yeah, we get that in 60 to 90 days, like we historically got a truck. Not the way it worked anymore. So.
Okay.
So both these items we're not buying it. We're literally just holding a price and holding our name on a list. And if you guys, I hope it doesn't happen, but if you guys tell me we can't do either of them in the next couple months, we tear it up and walk away.
This one, yeah.
What, on the face sheet on the request, you have Bobcat Plus at 33,000.
Yeah, I know it's that.
I think when I do the math, it's more than 53,000.
No, because you're looking, the 103 price is pre-discounts. Somewhere, I don't have those sheets because I kind of was more prepared for capital, but.
The total you're gonna want is 33,298.
Correct, and I did 35 since you generally do.
So, yeah, so you have 33,298. But the total items is 103, and then less the quote is 37.
And it's on the next, yeah,
That must be in order.
what's the
I
37
just
up
looked
here
at it
for?
before I came here today and it was 32, I don't know why. Because I have 35 is, I fluffed the number a little bit, only as we end up putting a light on it and maybe some Lisbon decals, so I always have that money in there, otherwise I used to always do it exactly for what we needed, and then I always shot myself in the foot, because then we get the machine and I'm like, oh man, I need lights on this thing, I need decals, now what do I do, right? You know, so that's where that is. So 33 and some change, and I asked for 35, so I don't know what copy I ended up catching, that might have been an older quote or something, but
Why does the next page say 37?
that's the number where, that's more correct.
The
'Cause we get-
37?
That's locked in.
No.
You're talking page 2 of Bobcat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that says, quote total 37, 122.
Yeah.
You need the light on there, Joe?
No, I'm all right. I'm just gonna look at this email that I just glanced at about 3 hours ago. See what the heck I did. Different. I apologize. Yeah, I have no, I'm sorry, I don't know which one that is, but this email here is 33,298. This is the quote that I have as
What
the,
is that? This one's from 6:30.
I'll tell you right now, the email was. Oh, come on. Yeah, that's a good question. Now this is showing me, I must have grabbed 2 different emails here. Now it may be. Hold on a minute. No, that's not it. I'm not gonna sit up here and keep trying to. Yeah, it's either 37 or 33, and I gotta double check now, cause sitting up here trying to do, I don't wanna waste your time, and like I said, we're not. I'll have to just maybe adjust the capital number a few thousand if I'm wrong and it is the 37 number then, cause we had 35 on the. Capital. CIP form, so I may need to just put that at 39 or something, but let me look into it and I'll follow up with you.
So you said that the CAC machine can do everything that the parent machine can, plus you use the premium site range.
Correct, the compost site we've done, and we'll, the compost site is for the most part done. But you're gonna, do maintenance up there for the rest of it being open. You always got stonework to do. It's not paved, it's stone. So there's work to do there. So grading, ditching, culverts, those are never gonna stop. Then the parks projects, which we've been doing a few more lately. I don't know how that'll go going forward, if we'll continue to do big projects like that, or if there'll be a little break, but either way, I mean, when we do need it down the road, we'll have it. And this machine will last. We were on a 10-year cycle, so you're at the 10 to 15-year range, So.
How do you feel about it?
So our tire machines coveted right now? Because I mean, it seems to me that we've had pretty good luck selling our used equipment recently. Is this something we should just? For me, I'm looking at, should we just buy
Yeah.
everything outright and then sell our wheel machine on our own?
I hear you. I don't know. It's a tough gamble. That's a heck of a number he gave us compared to like the other quote, the lock-in quote was less on a trade-in number, so. And we didn't get involved with the ASV dealer LF George. I didn't even get a quote on a trade-in, but. Yeah. I think it'd be a gamble, like normally I'd be sell it private or on auction all day, but this number is just weird. We bought it for 37. So. I don't
What
know.
can they sell it for?
I didn't look at what the market is on those. I mean, if he's at that, they might, like Kathy said, they might sell it for 47,000. They might not make a lot on it, but they might be making more on the sale of the new one. So they, they play the games. Dealers, salesmen, I don't know, they got their tricks.
Is Bobcat locking apples to apples?
Machines? No, lifting capacity, a few other things I can get you. I can get into all the detail of that further. I didn't think you were gonna gun me on all this tonight, because I thought this was the letter of intent, placeholder thing. I mean, I can,
just don't always have those numbers up in your.
yeah, I don't have the weights and all that, but it's a bigger,
getting
badder
old.
machine, I will say.
It doesn't hurt to sign the letter of intent. It doesn't cost us any money, or you're
Correct.
not have to stick to it.
No, it doesn't, but it also gives
Huh?
them,
Final way?
it also gives them questions that we have to present.
Yeah,
Well, here's the thing is, we sign all these letters of intent and we don't do something, they're gonna remember that.
yeah.
The only thing going right now is if we don't buy it, somebody else is going to.
Correct. And we didn't buy a machine from Bobcat Plus the first go around, and he was the same salesman. So he you're a smart salesman, you wait and you get your chance. I mean, it happens. We haven't bought stuff from guys and 2 years later, things change and you do buy something. That's how it works.
Yeah.
World.
We don't have to have a motion on that?
We already signed them, but maybe,
Oh, okay.
so we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it more in a little bit, if you wanna move forward with them.
Okay.
Okay,
Well.
Okay.
So the next item was discussion and necessary action regarding LOI for purchase of new PPW director pickup.
So same
This one I
thing.
do have a question on.
Go ahead.
Since when do we replace pickups in 6 years?
That was what, we don't have to, but that was what was talked about with the director truck. We did 2012, 2018. Now 24 would be this.
But I mean, the last time we did it was just because we had an opportunity. That, I just want to be clear, that is not our policy to replace that truck that quick.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we just did, the old truck that I took over when I took over then was sold with the plow on it, and then we bought an 18 and. Again. We can, the ROI on this truck is basically about
I mean, we might have an,
$4,000
I'm just saying, maybe we have an opportunity to sell this thing and
Yeah.
come out smelling good.
Correct.
But I just want to be clear, because it
Yeah.
says in here that our policy is to replace the director's truck every 6 years. That is not
Oh, it's-
policy. That's just, it just worked.
I
out
think a
that way.
the only truck was that truck 6 years. Dump trucks, 1 tons were 12, plow trucks were 15 plus. But I remember the conversation we had, and it wasn't like stamped in stone and we don't have it written down, but as a conversation, that truck was a 6-year truck. But all the 1 tons were 12 and all the big trucks are.
I
15
remember that
plus.
conversation going, we got a deal.
Okay, and that's maybe. That's
Because I think
probably
if you, something happened that, and it was like we basically almost made money on it, which kind of sounds like. this.
Yeah, I don't remember. It had the plow on it and
We got rid of it because we weren't on.
correct,
Right. There was some reason why it wasn't just because that it was,
right. We're not plowing with it. This truck didn't have a plow. No.
yeah, because you got a diesel after though.
No.
This one's gas.
Yeah.
So this one's a half ton?
3/4. 3/4 to 3/4. Oh, that's the paperwork you have.
Yeah, 3/4.
So I mean,
I just don't want to establish a 6-year policy on pickups. I'd
I
love
get
to
it.
For you, but I just don't want.
Do we have an administrative policy?
I mean, the fire department, we got 15 years and 40.
40?
Gas truck.
Strong runner.
and I have no issue
Still
keeping it.
moves. Got 3 or 4 tires filled with air, it's fine.
Yeah.
Got water in the back if the fire gets close.
Show us sweat. and we're like, what do you do?
No, I already know that. I see these things. We work on them. You think that's the news to me? Heck no.
We've gotten a lot better with our replacement. I
Yeah.
mean, we're on task, but I just,
Trying to keep you even better.
I don't have to worry about it in 6 years.
You're
but I
right.
just don't want to.
The rest of you won't be here, then I'll just have to sell it to the next group. Yeah, they told me 6 years ago that I could get a truck every 6 years. I mean, I don't know what you guys. Maybe I'll pull you up
It's in my contract.
some minutes. I got some minutes I can pull up and show you guys
It's
here.
in my contract.
There you go.
Treasurer gets a truck, clerk gets a vehicle, administrator gets a horse.
She's got a Mustang.
That's why I said horse.
Not representative.
I don't know, I'm losing interest. I guess what I told, well, I was gonna say, what I told the Public Works Committee is. And I don't expect anybody to do this, but you can if you'd like to, and we'll throw that truck up on the hoist, then I'll show you how clean it is, and that truck is. Will get you about, so basically in the 6 years we used it, it'll cost us about $4,000 to $5,000. We
See,
paid
that's the stuff.
31,200. And the new one, well, not the new one, but to sell it would be roughly, Blue Book wise and comparables is around 27. So you look at it that way. We keep running the truck, it's gonna start catching up the rust and the other stuff. Right now, it's at a point where I've taken care of it, heavily, cleaning, goes through the wash all the time, underbody, we recoat it, the thing is mint. It is a beautiful truck. So it's the cleanest, probably 18 you're gonna find with 66,000 miles as we speak. Another year, 2, 4, whatever. And we're not gonna stop the rust. They can't make it look that good forever. So that was where I brought this to them, and that's what the conversation was at the committee level was. It is premium still. It's got value. It wouldn't cost a whole lot to, but the bummer is, but it ain't gonna change. It's only gonna get worse is the next truck's obviously significantly more than this, and that's almost apples to apples what the truck was in 2018, you know? And it's 50,000 or 48,000 compared to 31. So it just tells you what happened in 6 years.
You going gas or diesel on this one?
Gas.
6.6.
It's the same truck outside of the crew cab instead of the double cab, and it had power folding mirrors. That's really the only thing I changed on it from the truck that you see for the drive.
Why does it say on the first page 48,385? On the last page, it says 55,816.
Municipal discount is on that first page through Ewald. I'm guessing, I don't know what this last page is that you're
Vehicle
looking at.
subtotal. Total options. Base price. Okay,
Yeah, the first page is always the one they run with, and that price is what you wanna take. So that's my sales pitch. I can't sit up here and bamboozle you anymore. I mean, the truck's clean, it drives great. It's gonna need tires probably in the next few months. Outside of that, though, yeah, it's a great truck. It's just, there's a lot of value in that truck to put it down the road and cost this village a whole lot of nothing for the last 6 years. But if that's not what you're interested in doing, then I understand.
What's the intentions for like 2018?
Wisconsin surplus. I would say.
would you have to replace the tires on it beforehand too?
I don't think they'd make it, but I could get used or something, you know, if I knew a new truck was coming, I would do something. If no new truck's coming, I'll get new tires, but maybe I can get a set of used ones, cause yeah, you're not gonna make it, probably no. You're talking almost possibly a year before we'd see it, you know, if we approve this in the next couple months. So,
Just a normal truck.
correct.
It's a shut up. No,
I don't even know what that means. He drives a ship.
That would be, but I mean, you'd be able to find some.
Maybe, but I just don't know how they do the municipal thing. I feel like you have to order these trucks for the municipal state contract. You can't go there and say, I want that one, but we're a municipality. I don't know.
If you check with, well, see if they have any.
Well,
They might have the exact
I said price one out. I'm sure he would have said, Joe, I got one sitting here in that conversation. I can ask him, but I would assume if he's wanting to sell a truck, he would have told me there's one sitting on there that's identical to what we quoted, but I'd have to ask, I can ask. Yeah, if they're looking to get rid of trucks for cheaper, I mean, that would be ideal, but I just don't know. There's just not. The vehicles aren't out there. Chevy isn't gonna produce thousands of trucks like they used to pre-pandemic. It's just, they're not, you know, if you read into it all, and I've read a lot of articles, it sounds like you're not gonna see dealerships loaded with vehicles anymore. It's just, they've learned stuff and that's what they're gonna do. But I could sit up here and talk and these people wanna go home. I actually won't mind going home, so. We can move on. This one, I didn't even sign this one yet for Ewald because I still was waiting on a Griffin price, but Ewald is gonna have the state contract. I just wanted to bring you another price from Griffin and I still don't have it. I emailed him today. I don't know what he's waiting on, so I didn't even sign this one yet. I was waiting till I was gonna get that last price. And like I said, it was just gonna be a signature to hold our place. So,
On top of that, we're gonna discuss this. Other items and 15.
All right, move on. Item 14. Plan Commission referrals, discussion necessary action to amend the Village of Lisbon zoning map to include shoreline zoning and create consistency on certain individual parcels. And to create shoreline zoning overlay district and to create Village of Lisbon shoreline wetland zoning ordinance.
Me too. Lauren, can you hear us okay?
I can.
All right, we're on shoreland.
I don't think he's there.
Nope, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Gotcha.
So we've got a recommendation of approval for this from the Plan Commission. This has been a process that we started earlier in the year. Had a lot of public engagement at the beginning of the process. We've been working with the county to develop a map. They've been kind enough to, Erica Anderson over there has been kind enough to assist us with that. And the end result is what's in front of you here. Again, this is something that the village had to do after incorporation. The state and the feds required the floodplain / shoreland stuff that we've been working on. You've already adopted the floodplain portion, so this is the last bit. This document's been reviewed by the DNR. They had a few questions regarding some of the voluntary regulations that were added to this. We've addressed those questions from them, and so they're on board.
We're asking for your approval. It was unanimous.
Questions for you, Paula? Anything?
No, thank you. I'm good.
Mark? Anything for you, Becky? All right, is there a motion on this item then?
I'll make a motion, we approve the floodplain and shoreland ordinance.
Is there a second?
I second.
In the seconds, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carries 5-0. Thank you. All right. Moving into new business, A, discussion necessary action regarding determination under 66.0404 parent 2 parent B of the proposed class 2 collocation on property located at North 80 West 26020 Plainview Road, LSBT 0176.996.
We do also have the petitioner present on Zoom as well, if there are any questions.
Yeah, if you need me to give a brief introduction, this is a tower modification for an existing monopole at the site here. The tower currently has one tenant, AT&T. The tower owner is looking to have a second tenant. That's their co-location specifically is going to be next year, I believe the applicant said. But this is in preparation of that. There was a structural analysis that was done on the monopole that determined that the co-location for T-Mobile that they'd like to do, the tower can't support it in its current state. They need to do a modification to the tower. So that's what's being proposed at this time. And what we're asking the board is to make a determination of whether or not this is a substantial modification. My recommendation is that it is not, based on my review of the state statute and what they define as a substantial modification. And as Lisa pointed out, Jennifer Chapman is available on behalf of the applicant if there's any questions.
Questions from the board? Nothing?
And then if you determine that is non-substantial, then we will see this back at plan commission, the full site plan of operation.
I would make the motion that I find this is not a substantial alteration. Is there a second? Second by Mark. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 5-0.
Thank you, Orin. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item B, discussion and necessary action regarding DPW 2024 capital projects request.
Oh, don't you love to see me up here again? All right. Okay. I streamlined this for you guys and I kept this pretty lean as I could get. So
Your package, you have the capital project plan.
Mhm.
I think you see when he's addressing different items for DPW where the plan. For 2020.
All right, we'll just start from the top and I guess stop me when you'd like to. The priority one on highway equipment would be, and I might be a little out of order of how you have it in the packet, but
Yeah.
this is just how the priority is. So priority one is the plow truck, the big plow truck. So it's been the way since I started here, prior to me being here. I don't think there's a whole lot of discussion here. It's kind of what we do every year. We put a quarter truck in, Merchant puts a quarter, we put a quarter the next year, they put a quarter, every 2 years, we get a new truck. I'm actively getting quotes on that right now. And seeing what kind of things are available for 2024, because 2024 would be a purchase year. I would obviously bring all that back to another meeting, so. This is strictly just to put our quarter in like we've done for the last few years. Price is up a little bit. It was 50,000 and 55 or whatever. Now you see it's at 65, but a $200,000 truck a couple years ago is 230, 240 now, so. I'll just keep going, or do you want me to pause on each one? Okay. Number 2 in priority for equipment is the skid steer. Just to go back on our conversation a few minutes ago, I will say if push come to shove on anything, I mean, this is priority. That truck is priority to an extent, but this is priority. This is for the guys. It's something we talked about. They're gonna use it a lot. And I'm here for my guys more than I'm here for me. So this is, I want my eggs in a basket, and this is the basket I want them in. So maybe we do want to adjust that price. I can probably follow up with Kathy with an adjusted price. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say I don't see it being over 40 once. If it were 37 plus the little bit of fluff, like I say, for the lighting and the decals, I think 40 would be fair, but let me just confirm that and get that right. I apologize for that. That is not like me, and I don't know what the heck I did there. So we talked about it a little bit. I don't need to waste your time anymore on that one. The truck, I think I sold it as well as I could sell it 10 minutes ago, so that would be priority 3 though, on equipment. And then the last item on equipment would be a bucket truck, and this would be just a portion of the bucket truck, as you can see, 24 and 25, and this would be for a used bucket truck. A new bucket truck's gonna cost 200,000 plus easy. So I'm hoping we could find a used one. We do a lot of tree work in the fall, winter, and spring, and even in the summer a little bit. And then when we have events where fire goes out on a storm, there's times, these trees are massive or they're leaning against another tree. You can't do that work from the ground. And our only option is Sussex's, which we have a good relationship with them, and he is willing to let me use their truck, but it's just getting old. We literally could be out all the time in the fall and winter and spring with our own truck. There's just there's enough work for it. That would make sense. And I mean, I'm trying to go with a cost-effective option here to put money away on a 2-year project to buy a used one, but so I just wanted to at least get that on the radar, and I don't know if that's gonna be something that necessarily will fit in yet, but it's definitely something that we feel is becoming a big need in this village. So, and the bucket truck does a lot more than trees, we can do maintenance, lighting, building, repair, it'll come in handy more than you think it would. So.
Question on that.
Mhm.
How often do we use Sussex and bucket truck? How many times a year?
I'll say a dozen, but that's not a dozen days. That we'll get it and keep it, in our shop for a week or so when we have it at sometimes. So how many weeks? Gosh, it's one of those items I will say that I can tell you we use it for 2 months out of the year, right? But if we owned one, we'd use it a whole heck of a lot more, just because you get resourceful and you get risky when you're out there when, you don't have the bucket trucks. I don't want to monkey and go get it. You might cut corners, if you know what I mean, a little bit when you're cutting something, where if you had it, you'd go up there and. So I don't want to pull the safe card, but it's a safe card. It is, bottom line. It's safe, but I'm not gonna get into it. It's not like we're dying out there because we're cutting trees like clowns. It's just, it is a much safer way to do it.
How many times a year? How many days?
I'll just go 2 months. I know,
60 days
sure,
or 40 days?
go with 60.
And he says he could use it more.
But I mean, talk to any municipality that owns a bucket truck. It's like majority of the equipment, think about the plow truck. Ask me that question. Okay, we plow 30 storms a year. You're still gonna buy a plow truck, right? You know what I mean? So I mean, I don't like that question that much, just because it's like, I know where you're coming from. 2 out of 12. That doesn't sound too good, does it, Joe? Nope, but I'll tell you right now. I don't know how to sell it any better to you, but it is not a great question to ask me, and you're just making me. Whatever, let's go on to the next page, so.
You don't need to sell me this.
Well, I mean, I can't sit up here in 60 days out of 356, I mean. Or what's 365, whatever, it's just like, now you got me flustering, I'm flipping numbers around. So,
Can
it's
I just
okay,
ask you a quick question?
it's priority 4, so it doesn't really matter that much, I just bring it to your attention. It does matter, I want it all on here, but anyways, go ahead, Linda.
Okay, when, back on this, the plow truck to go in the sinking fund.
Yes.
Don't you take the plow off and then use the truck all year long?
Yeah, I just wanted to gun him a little bit.
Okay, that's the point.
Not every truck gets used all the time, but yes, like for instance, today,
Yeah.
2 trucks were used doing shouldering that normally would have a plow in the winter, obviously don't today,
Okay.
but,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
but it's just like any piece of equipment, you know, I mean, honestly, I'm just to be fair to you guys.
Yeah.
There is no piece of equipment we own, the village owns, that is being used every single day, that just does not, that's not practical, I mean, you
No.
don't do that at home with your lawnmower, you don't
But
do, you know, so
You
it's
might be
a,
asking that in relation to, is it worth renting?
I hear you, I know where
Because if
you,
you
yeah,
do it for 30 days in a year.
well, I hate
and
to
the
say
cost
it, but.
is-
There's so much change since 2020 in the world of equipment. Renting is. Especially bucket trucks, because you can't get chassis, you know, that's the thing. Skid steers are coming around, mini excavators are coming around, stuff like that's coming around where you can rent things again, but. You just don't see a lot of,
I gotta use bucket truck also.
yeah, I know exactly, I know too much about that bucket truck and I don't even want it for 1 second.
Do you pay Sussex when you borrow that?
No, that's just a trade-off, because you know, we work with them with their brush pickup, they let us use that, so there's just, that's all
So they
mutual
borrow
aid.
some of our some.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
There's no,
Okay.
never, no money exchange ever.
Okay,
And we have a great relationship with
whoops,
them on
you've
that.
got a
What?
question.
Just to clarify, I was actually thinking more of a cooperative purchase.
I know, I was getting a little hostile. I got,
I haven't even started asking the hard questions.
hey, I'm ready. You're right. See, hey, at least I'm still calling you Mark. That's a bonus. You guys get me all jacked up here in Capitol. No, a co-op, the town of Merton actually might be one to consider. They do a deal where they work with a contractor and then they rent 2 guys in a truck, you know, for a while in the town of Merton. That's what they do, how they kind of operate their tree work. So there is potential for a, you know, mutual aid project with somebody possibly, yeah. Kick those tires.
That sounds really dumb. Do we keep insurance on those or that's just through the village? Or we
Oh,
keep
no,
extra insurance?
anything, they're all insured,
I want to make sure.
all the equipment,
I know
trucks.
if it was village paid on, you know, that they would pay. Okay, never mind.
Building improvement, we just have 1 item. We would like to purchase, this would be another half project. I'm trying to, Kathy and I talked, I mean, it's tough to come in here with these big numbers, you know, everything is so darn expensive now. So we're trying to half projects or even order them a little bit to make it a little more achievable, but this would be the, I don't know if some of you are familiar with them, but this is becoming a big trend in a lot of municipalities, a lot of shops. They're mobile lifts. So as you can see in the little picture on there, it looks like a pallet jack almost. You can wheel that right around to the truck, vehicle, car, machine, whatever it would be. You put that right under the tire. And if you're on a 4-corner machine, they all talk Bluetooth. So once you start raising it up, I mean, they, you know, there's not like one's going up fast than the other, and these all talk to each other, they raise up. So we could do that. We have a hoist in the shop. We would in essence sell that. It's a drive on. This is, you know, where you're just cradling the tires. We can't lift the fire engines, just too heavy with the lift we have currently. So these would be able to lift the fire engines, the tenders. It would actually be able to lift a loaded salt truck. which is kind of neat because there's times the truck breaks down and now you don't have hydraulics, you know, to dump your salt off. So you're in there scooping it out or whatever if you need to get it lighter to go on our current lift. Then the mobility factor, we could push these around anywhere in the shop. We could do this outside on a summer day where you want to rinse something down, pressure wash, you're gonna do, we do a lot of fluid film. So, you know, in the next couple months here, we'll start prepping all the chassis for snow where we spray anti-corrosive film on it. You could do that all outside because it gets nasty in the shop. It's just cloudy. So stuff you could do anywhere really. You know, you could roll these up front if the truck wouldn't start, you know, and you can't move it without dragging it. You could roll these right up to where the truck is now. So they're really slick. And the city of Pewaukee, actually, if Mark, I don't know if he's been to their new shop, but they got 6 of these and they're just, it's what you're seeing the trend go to, and they're pretty slick. So
How much are they
I-
a piece? 55,000?
well, they're for 6 of them, the quote with jack stands and everything. So then you could, because you know, the catch with these is you're cradling the tire. So let's say you want to remove the tire and wheel,
Yeah.
but you're hanging it from there. So now you're in a tough spot. So this price, 110,000 for 2 years, would get you 6 jacks and all the jack stand and everything you would need. It's a complete package. I had quoted out from them out of McFarland, Wisconsin. So I don't know. I think we would just in essence kind of roll the money over 2 years and then buy it all in one shot. I mean, if he would come to us and say, just so you know, there's a 20% price increase coming, I guess that's a conversation we could have where we maybe would want to buy something, but my thought was just put money away 1 year, the rest of it the second, and buy it all in one shot. Yeah,
So 55,000 is not.
unfortunately, that's year 1 of 2.
So it's 100, what do you mean 110,000 for 2 years?
Or
55 a year.
55,000
Or
per
55,
year
yeah.
for 2 years.
I gotcha. Okay,
One, in the 5-year capital that she had on here as well, it's a little easier to see that on there, and I should have broke that on there, and some of them I did do that, I messed it up. Okay, that was it for building maintenance. We had a great year this year with the painting, the gutters, the tuck pointing, the salt shed, so we're in a good spot. Building looks nice, and we're still buttoning up a few of those, so really wasn't a whole lot I needed on there.
Back to the column lifts.
Yes,
You have a mark that sinking fund? The budgeting source?
sorry, I changed it on my notes. It must have, I just probably never relayed that to the copy I gave Elisa.
General fund?
Yes. It's the old copy and paste deal, you know, and save as, and then you forget to slide one thing over. Road maintenance, paving. Pretty cut and dry here. We try to push for that $500,000. The estimate from this year for what I wanted to do. The estimate for these roads in this year was 550,000 that I made that note for at the bottom. So putting 500,000 in there, we do have a sinking fund. There's money in there, so it'd roll over. We'd have enough to do those 3 roads. So. And I don't know if that's exactly what we would do, but that is probably the next roads up, I'll say, unless something happens between now and when we bid out roads. I don't think there's a whole lot of conversation there. We know how the road program goes every year. We try to keep it up there, and I know it's not the easiest thing to do, so we'll see what happens. We'll switch to parks then. Park equipment. Basically, you know, I have a few things here, obviously, but we'd be primarily all in on that UTV. We brought that to you last year. The Gator has over 7,000 miles on it. It is gonna be 13 years old in 2024 and will be just due for a replacement. It's the parts were thrown at it here and there, it works, but it's getting towards the end of its, you know, cost-effective lifespan, I'll say. So there's not a whole lot more than I can say that we've talked about the last year or 2 on this, so. It's used at LCP, 120-acre park where, you know, the guys get in it, you get somewhere quick, you're cleaning up the park, you're running around for events. Today we used it, we set 2 posts out on Lake 5 Road for the new LCP sign, so we're running material out there for that. You don't have to use a truck. If the guys are out with the trucks, you always have that at the park. It's very handy. It's used a lot. For it to have 7,000 miles on, I think it is a lot if you're familiar with the UTV and all that, that's a lot of miles actually on a little machine like that, so. That's that, go to the next item, which I think I made another error. Must be the worst year of capital for me ever, wow, I'm embarrassed up here, but anyways. It's not on the 5-year, but if you had a skid steer in the packet for the parks, you can skip that, we pushed that off, Kathy and I do another year, it's just, I had it in mind, you might not even have it, so I don't know, but
We have
go, okay, skip it. All right, so the trailer then would be 2 in essence, it says 3, but in essence, it would be priority 2. Basically a replacement, it's the trailer that takes the mowers around every week, and the trailer we currently have is a 2001. Once we got the new John Deere a few years back, had to build boards on it to drive the mower up on it so the decks don't hit the fenders and all that, and it's just, we can get a more ideal situation trailer, and then when you haul the skid steer up there, you're parking the skid steer up on top of these boards, and it's just not an ideal situation. It's a 2001. It served its purpose, and it's a replacement. So we're talking 22-year-old trailer there, so. That's that one. Again, we're talking a lift here, which we've talked about this in the past. This is a huge ask, and I know it's probably never gonna happen, unfortunately, but I mean, that's only a quarter, which I made that note in there, a quarter of the purchase price, and that might even be light. These lifts are getting out of hand. They're 200,000 to 300,000 plus for these track lifts, but Mike, there's a lot of trees off the beaten path in the park, and it's the maintenance them and all that and whatnot. We talked about using it for highway as well, but truck for highway is a more practical situation. This bucket, which would be the last piece of equipment, is a skid steer bucket that also has basically like a Harley rake pre-seeder built into it. So it's hard to tell by the little picture, but it works just like a normal bucket, and then it's got hydraulics on it. So you could tip the bucket up a little bit and drag and move, and it breaks up all your bigger chunks. Slick little unit for a relatively reasonable price when you're doing these grading projects and all that, and you got all the nerds and the chunky dirt and all that, you just can break it all up with that. So pretty neat little thing. Mike saw it at a event he was at, and I watched a bunch of videos on it. It's pretty slick. All right, that's it for equipment on parks end of the deal.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
I know you said you pushed off the track skid steer for parks for next year.
Yeah.
What
And-
kind of use is this machine getting
Oh, I
every day?
often I'd say, because they're pushing up chips. It's like a yard horse, I'll say, where the skid steer for us would go out a little bit more, obviously, because you're doing projects. Where this machine stays at the park, pushing up chips, pushing off our fill pile. Today we used the auger on it to put those 2 posts in the ground. So we pushed it off for a reason, and I would like to see the track machine for the highway department purchased, see the kind of use we get out of it, and make a different decision next year. That's why I was, we discussed to just kick it back, because I don't even get too set on that 2025 year
My
yet.
question is, in parks and I would just share.
It's very possible. I mean, they have a skid steer, a tire machine as well. Again, that's kind of why we talked about, we weren't gonna try to do both these the same year. I would like to see, I know how it'll work for us, but yes, maybe then when this parks does need it, we can just move it out there, and the little bit it did need that when they have the tire machine, maybe it'll be like this, we don't need this thing. Take it off for 25 and 26 and move those funds and request somewhere else. Okay. Suitable. Yeah. You don't like that, Ann?
No, I guess
Oh.
I'm thinking if we can move it this year, the value of this is gonna be more this year than next year.
The used one?
Yeah, if we could share a park and highway track loader,
Yes.
why not get rid of this old one this year, and that'll be more incentive for us to say yes to the highway.
The John Deere
Highway
that,
and parks coming in.
whether you're taking 2 and we have 2, you'd be getting rid of and only getting 1.
I know, that's why I asked about the use. Because if
Oh, it
it's-
gets used a lot. What I was getting at is going from a tire machine to a track machine. Can I sell you that is more of a challenge. That's why I want to see how the track machine for the highway department goes. As far as using it, it gets used all the time for loading trucks, pushing, like I said, the wood chips out there, the dirt. Whatever, if he's chipping trails at LCP, there's tons of trails, there's a lot of work to do. Skid steer gets used a lot. I just meant for the track part. I don't know if it'd be worthwhile. You have to say, you know what, we gotta sell it and get a track machine. For the park. But they need a skid steer. There's a reason we moved a skid steer there a few years ago and it gets used all the time.
So this picture is not what I'm looking at.
That
Park
would be-
division, you have a track skid steer for yard operation.
Yeah.
What do we have there now? Not this.
No, a tire machine, but 2010 JCB. So, a bit older than the John Deere we have, which has got a lot more value. That's why I said, I don't know. You're not gonna get the value out of that JCB as you are getting out of this 2020 John Deere we were looking to trade in. So that'd be one of those, you're past its prime and you just sell it on auction and get what you get. When we're not even. we don't even need to
What
talk
about-
that.
But is it possible to move that one from the highway into the park?
The John Deere,
Yeah,
which is a possibility, yes. And then sell the
Then
older
sell-
JCB,
the older JCB, and then we don't need to get another,
right, for a long time,
and if you need a track loader in the park at some point, you guys
just
just
move
switch
it.
for a while.
correct. Not a bad, I mean, if you guys are interested in that idea, it's okay.
What do we think? Okay. About that link,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what will, I mean, if,
but in a year, we're gonna. have to
right,
have
the John Deere would be
Exactly,
gone,
in a year, we're not gonna have the option to keep the gun.
you're right,
It's gone. So then we're gonna spend 60 more grand
right.
as a difference.
You'd have to spend. I'm just gonna guess, these JCBs are not that desirable, so I'm gonna say. You'd probably need to spend $30,000, maybe $20,000 to $30,000 more. You know, if you were gonna keep. The J and John Deere and then use the JCB as the either the trade-in or the sell on auction. But you're right, that's a lot cheaper to do that now than it would be to buy a new one in a few years, I agree. The discussion I can have. Yeah, I can, yeah, that's not a bad idea. I could have them come give us a number on that thing and just see, curiosity's sake, how far off it is from the 46. All right, Parks Division, site improvements, building improvements, we have $3,000 in just picnic table lumber and hardware to repair a bunch of the picnic tables that can use some repairs, so. Minimal cost, I don't know if we want to put that in. Yeah, operating or not, but it can be talked about. Yeah, so. That was that, and then Kathy and I had talked about a little bit. Caveat to the lift, track lift is potentially putting money away to hire a tree service to assist in the parks, you know, annually you'd give them a. You know, or you'd have them quoted, obviously, but you have so much money to use a year to work on the dead trees that are throughout the park, especially at LCP. And clear some of those down and you just, you know, do a few years of contractor work and go that route. So,
Which is a $30,000 grant, but I suggested it be put in because we're not getting caught up on, our taking down trees unless they happen to fall in the park for the use. So we have a lot of dead trees just sitting, three dead trees, in Stone family that's still sticking straight up with the big dead. We don't have time to dig it.
And it could be dangerous for someone who's in the area, in the wind. Mhm.
But throughout the park, they don't, with our staffing, we have time for our staff to take down trees during the summer. They're busy mowing the lawn and taking care of parks, and in the winter they're plowing the highway. So that was my thought, was 30,000 would get us, we were consistent like we are with paving, putting aside all kinds of paving, maybe.
all right, that was it on those two. And then the last thing is park building improvements. Those are site improvements, these are building improvements. So you have the office, lunchroom, bathroom area of the Parks Department, which has been a 3-year thing. We've put 10,000 away the last couple of years and we've had some fans installed in the shop area, the 3 garage doors replaced, the service doors are the ball is rolling on that right now to be replaced this year. And then the remaining and the HVAC upgrades we did this year. So the remaining items would be flooring. Go switch it out to LED lighting in there, and there's a half wall in the lunchroom area, kind of that it's just wasted where it could be removed. Drywalled over, and then it would open up the space and make it more user friendly and a little more space. And pretty minimal, I think, to button it up, and that would set that whole shop up for many, many years, kind of like we did a few years back. on the highway. No, they're on their own out there, so. Yeah. And it already has, you know, the lunchroom table and all that there. This is just a redo the floors that can use it, ceiling, you know, lights in the ceiling tiles and that wall, remove that wall and clean that up. So that'd be about it. That would button up the building then for a while.
That will be done by highway.
Majority would be done by staff. If not all. We did it all in-house in the highway department, so I don't see why we can't do it all. The flooring maybe be the only one that I don't know. And then the last thing is that fence, we talked about a fence last year, it was quite pricey because it was a price to have it installed. We looked into some other options, so these are materials only. We would install that fence ourselves. And it was Mike pushes for, you know, the dead trees, then you're gonna keep cutting down trees, you're gonna wanna replace trees, so you can get small trees a lot cheaper and start growing them somewhere where the deer won't eat them, hopefully, that's what the fence would be for, and then. Yep, you get all the free trees we get here for Earth Day, so that you could start planting those, growing them, and all of a sudden have transplants and move those out into the parks as the other trees get cut down, so. With that. My blood pressure has come down a bit and I am done.
All right.
Thank you. Sorry if I got a little off topic on the bucket truck, you know. I just gotta be prepared for those questions I can't even be prepared for. But thank you.
You did a great job, though, Joe.
Item C, discussion and necessary action regarding fire department 2024 capital projects request. You have a bucket truck. Wait.
All right. So all the projects we have in the front of our packet are basically continuing projects that we had last year, but the prices have kind of changed quite a bit. So the first one we have on there is year 2 for the portable radio upgrade. And as you can see, the prices are on there. Andrew can answer if you have any questions, but it's basically the same project. The pricing is different.
How many radios do we use if we're asking for 40?
We have 40 radios, we have one radio per riding position, in the truck, so it's, you know, kind of like how, to relate to you, every police officer has a portable radio with them. We still rely heavily on people who come in on calls, they're not gonna carry a radio with them, so we have one for every riding position that are in vehicles going on calls. And then chief officers typically have 2, if they're running an incident, they need multiple radios to run an incident. And all of our officers are assigned a portable radio, so that's where the 40 number comes into play. With what we currently have in our.
That kind of like we're getting positions in gas, grass truck.
Correct. So I can't rely that an officer is gonna come in, I can't rely that one of the full-time staff that signed a radio for that day. One of the chiefs is gonna come in and take that grass truck out on the call. I don't know that to be 100% certain, so therefore, if they're gonna go out and work on a fire scene of some sort of, I need to know that they have to communicate with everybody else.
All right, the next one is year 2 of the nozzles for our nozzle project. That prices went up a little bit too.
Any questions on this one?
Next one, steel door entry. Again, this is the second year to replace the other 3 doors that we talked about. The price is different on this one as well compared to one for this year.
Questions on this one?
Okay. Firefighting gear extractor. This is basically to get a turn-on gear washing machine for the station that does not currently have one at the Good Hope station located on Good Hope.
What do you do now? Just transport them?
We'll transport turn off here, yeah, we'll do a road decon on scene anywhere that we are, with our fire hose and trickle water to get all the big stuff off of us. And then we'll transport it down to, station number 2, where people will switch out here. Primary staffing right now is at station 1, and obviously with the, increase in our staffing limits that we're gonna have, it's just gonna be incredibly beneficial to have one at both stations, that way we're not transporting dirty gear around. Cancer prevention is huge right now in the fire service. Because we are so susceptible to getting cancer in our career or in our lifetime period. And this is one of the big ways to try and reduce that and keeping our firefighting equipment clean in our career. So. We thought that having a gear extractor on multiple occasions.
Questions?
So that extra, is that 13 for one of them or 2 of them?
For one,
So you requesting 2 though?
just one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
Okay. Next one is basically up to 10,000 to purchase materials to build a training house in our training portion area of the station over by Richmond Road. And we'd be doing it all in-house work on building a little training house that we can work with crews on with breaking down like door entries,
This would be used
roof
for-
work.
Yep, roof works, search and rescue, we typically rely heavily on, well, not rely, but we used a lot of, and we're given a lot of donated homes throughout the community. Those homes that are being donated to do live fire scenarios, a lot of search and rescue, when we get them, we do also fantastic. That's kind of dwindling, as a lot of those older homes are going away, or people are donating to the fire department to use. This would be a training house that we could have on site, guys could use every single day. That we could go and search and rescue, we could do drug work, we could do some ventilation stuff, we could water hoses through. It's by.
Probably some forcible entry.
Forcible entry, it's by no means ever going to be used for live fire scenarios, but there's still a ton of stuff. that we can do.
so does that mean that you put electricity in it and water and,
No.
you know, stuff like that,
No.
heat?
No,
Nope.
No, okay,
This is just a bear skin. This is a glorified shed sitting on cinder blocks.
okay,
That we are going to put dirt, furniture, or whatever we find in there to make it look like a kitchen or make it look like a
oh,
bed.
I gotcha, okay, thank
And then
you.
what you destroy, you fix and then destroy it again and.
There will be
But some
pre-planned
things,
areas
yeah.
that are pre-planned to destroy, so like in the roof, we'll put sections of a standard wall that's have joints that are 16 on center, and we can tear down the drywall. That drywall is meant to be replaced. The roofing, we're gonna have sections of the roof where we typically vet a vertical ventilation hole 4 foot by 4 foot. There will be sheets of plywood that we can lay in there, so that section will be sheeted. So there'll be sections that are pre-planned to destroy and use the frame, and that's.
okay, I'll
Any
probably
questions
talk
on
a
that
lot
one?
about this one.
Sure.
So this one, this is the last one, yes. Is to get a new SCBA air compressor at Station 1 or the station located on Good Hope Road. The current system that is there right now is an old system and has some potential safety hazards.
We have one right now at Richmond.
Yes, we have a nicer one at Richmond. That one is getting kind of old and we're being told by the vendor that it's getting harder to find parts for that one, but that one still is a decent system that we use a
Are
lot.
we even using the one at Good Hope?
Only if the other one is down for some reason, or we need to repair the other one for some reason, basically.
use it, rechecks, especially in the summer, the changing of the season, hot, cold, bottles will go down the pressure, the temperature, freezing air. High pressure, you can't, with that more time that we can keep it moving, and doing our job, so we do use it, the top off bottles, as we call it, quite often, once, twice a week, if we find them, but we try and primarily the one, if we're gonna be filling a lot of bottles, the safety hazard. If you look at the photographs, on the second page there, you can see the top one. Is the station that's the one that's currently at station number 1. It's an old Ingersoll Rand compressor. Ingersoll Rand doesn't make breathing air compressors anymore. They just make standard air compressors. They're out of the breathing air side of the business. So parts for that are next to impossible on the breathing air side. On the air compressor side, that's a totally different story, but filters and things on the breathing air side are next to impossible. Fine. If you look at where we're filling the bottles on the side, that's just basically a piece of steel box that's been bolted together. The valve and regulator is sitting out in the neck of the bottle is sitting out. If something were to fall on that, if those were to break and snap, there is nothing from stopping that to come at you. We fill these bottles at 4,500 PSI. So that's a lot of pressure and some shrapnel that could come at somebody's face. And we'd like to try and avoid that if at all possible. All modern compressors, it's fully enclosed, and it's a double locking system. So they make them to withhold the bottle blowing up inside. Whereas this, that would be a really that would happen. So.
Station 2 compressor goes down, what's that called there? First one model.
We reach out to our neighbors.
Yeah.
We reach out to our neighbors and we ask really, really nice to go over to, Burton. Burton has a breathing air compressor. I have never, I don't know if Suffolk has one. I would assume they do. But we could run over there. We kind of rely on our neighbors if we have to, if we have. If we've done with that. So, try and do the first one. Take care of ourselves, you know. This would include, the price there is you can include new Cascade bottles. You fill the Cascade bottles to 6,000 PSI, then you can fill your bottles up and it'll go to 1,000 and pressure fill the Cascade bottles back. So it's a much safer, modern thing that would be very creative. And yes, that building's getting older than some of these, the tractor and compressor, I think that come with us. It's not a problem fixture for the building.
Okay.
I just have a quick question, that just curiosity. You use the station on Good Hope the most?
Correct, as of right now, that's where our full-time staff is, and oddly enough, a lot of our paid on call staff, when we did that, followed us up there. So that station gets used most, it's,
Really?
gosh darn, you're smack in the middle of town.
Yeah.
So, a lot of our paid on call staff doesn't like to be second calls, for somebody, you know, the excitement happens right away, so we leave the barn right away, we get out there right away, so a lot of our staff is staying up there, yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Majority of the time, that's really.
Okay.
Just to kind of get an understanding, you have priorities of projects, but of the projects that you listed, you have to prioritize 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instead of 6, 7, 8. Instead of you have a couple ones and you have 3 3s and have a 4. I remember our conversation about the sealed entry doors seemed like they were a priority
Correct.
last year, but you have them as priority.
I think that when I was filling all of this out and doing this, I put them as where they fit into line as far as if it's a replacement or it's an extension of a project that's going on.
So let's say they were gonna do one thing, portable radio upgrade is more important than here.
Yes.
Yes.
That
100%. Yep, and I carried, so I guess my understanding was the carryover priorities of carryover projects and then new projects. So this was something that was approved last year. This is just an increased cost with the radio upgrades. And then the three new projects being the air extractor, the training house, and the air compressor.
Any other questions?
No.
Anybody?
No, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Item D, discussion and necessary action regarding 2024 through 2029 capital improvement projects.
It's where the department heads go through their projects. Request, and this is the time that we kind of go through our project. Decide which ones we want to fund for 2024, so I can start putting together a budget. We also need to talk about at this point, if you're looking at maybe bonding for equipment this year again, or if you're looking at fund balance. Those are all things you're going to need to be aware of when you're making your items.
So you want decisions on these tonight?
I mean, we can move it to the next meeting, that's fine. I'm just trying to get going on the budget.
I'm not ready to see them.
Right.
Okay.
I agree.
This is what the budget looks like, the projects look like, and we did move out some of the projects throughout the 5 years. You can see, well, actually, most of 28, but, you can kind of see what the cost of capital improvements, say for fire, as it goes, in 24 is 471,000, then it goes the next year to $1 million, then the next year to 2.4 million, then the next is 2.475, and then 520. So it keeps continually growing. Not to say that you would approve all of those projects all of those years, but just to be aware of the increases. So did you have any, you want me to bring this back in September for discussion?
Yeah, I guess,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, but
So speaking about summer, I am not here on the 13th. So do you want to move our meeting to the 6th, or do you want to have a meeting with us? We'll have a budget workshop on the 6th.
what is the plan for budgeting this year, I guess?
So in front of you, I have a budget timetable that I set up.
You have it, have a picture.
Yeah, she gave you one.
I don't know, I got crap everywhere now.
But so, we were looking at the top, the capital project.
Here, you can look at mine.
I got a picture too.
So, I wanted to just bring up the fact that, if you're interested in bonding for capital funds next year. Next, meeting, I thought, we could start the work on, a budget workshop on the 6th of September. I don't think still, I'll be in town yet. And, we could work on a draft budget as well as salaries. We could move the capital projects down into that area as well. You want to take a look at it. Then on the 4th of October, I've got a budget workshop. We should have the levy limit by that time. It usually comes in around September 7th or so. I will have a second, my thoughts were to have a second draft of the budget, because we'll have a first draft that will be on September 6th, then the changes that you suggest. And as revenues come in, it may change what my assumptions are. We'll bring that in as a second draft budget. Then the actual capital budget would come in at that point. Because the first day we're going to talk projects you want to fund for 24, then I need to put that into a budget itself, revenue and expenses, then also debt service and TID and stormwater will come in on board. Then on the 11th, we will have a workshop following the village board meeting. At that point, we could do a final review of what we did the last two meetings with actual longer workshops. I have kind of grayed out that if necessary, we could also, following the public works and utility meeting, the third Wednesday of the month, we could do a workshop if needed. If we couldn't finalize that on the 11th. Then on October 20th, we need to send it to the paper for publishing. We published the budget on the 25th of October, then November 1st, and then the village board and would act on the budget on November. Too many workshops?
I don't-
Workshops?
Definitely not too many. I guess we never really talked about what we envisioned this budget looking like. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
there's gonna be differences of opinions on this too.
I guess my question is how are we gonna know how much capital funding? Much capital project funding we need to do without knowing what our levy limit worksheet goes out to? Because if we go high, it's gonna force us to borrow. We may not have the opinion we wanna borrow.
Well, we can make some assumptions, but we can't have, unless they, before the September workshop, they get the levy limit sheet out to us, I can't do the levy limit. sheet.
When do you come back from vacation?
The 19th,
The 19th.
and that's my next thing.
Oh, okay.
I guess I'd be more inclined to move the budget workshop towards the back end of September.
Right.
Or like the 20th, 25th.
Yeah, whatever the week of the 25th.
Instead of the 6th, you mean?
Yeah, I just don't think we're gonna have
I think they're pushing it.
pushing it too far.
No, too early.
But that's what I mean. I don't know that September 6th would be a benefit to the board level. I think administratively, I think salary and draft budget could be worked on beforehand.
So we could do something the week of the 25th, it would just be the 25th or 26th, 27th, we already have a the 20th, we have a public works and utility meeting.
I would say something that week of the 25th.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like that to be the first one,
Mm-hmm.
instead of September 6th. maybe.
Yes. Then we'll know more information.
Okay, so the 20, so are
Do
we
we
now
have-
open on the 25th? The Monday.
Yeah, as of right now.
Well. Yeah. so-
I don't think we need to set anything in stone tonight, but
Actually come back, we need to have an. So I'm not gonna be here on the 13th. We're not gonna have a meeting on the 6th. Or the 13th. The next meeting night, we sit down and talk, will be in October. In the 11th is our regular village board. We don't discuss it.
right, wouldn't we have something the week of September 25th? As a budget workshop?
Yes, so are you saying you'd rather just do a poll of who's available on the 25th?
We'll put it down and we'll all try to make it.
25th?
Yeah.
I believe I can make it.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
On September 25th.
Good.
Okay.
Then are we, good with meeting again on the 4th? October 4th? That'd be at 11 after the board meeting.
October 11th, I will be gone, just so you know.
So we want to do October 10th. I don't
I'll be
know. I just can't think.
If I was smart, I left on the 8th.
The 9th or the 10th. of October.
So-
One of those.
9th or 10th? Yeah, it's fine. Our anniversary's on the 11th, so I would prefer the 9th or 10th. Doesn't matter, though. 54 years.
This isn't. Me. I
Yeah.
think this is probably my 6th anniversary. That's
Oh, really?
year.
Yeah.
Plans. So, so do we want to go to the board and then just talk about it at the board, what our next meeting would be at that point?
That's fine.
So the 25th to 4th, leave everything else open, understanding that we have to have it to the paper by the 20th.
But you have to post this meeting too, though. Yeah,
So we need to know 24 hours.
right, okay. All right.
Okay. We'll start with that. That's
Okay.
kind of our thought process. What are we doing about the September?
So you guys want to move it? I'll move it. When would you want to move it to?
6th. The 6th or, I can't do them because I'm
Oh, why not?
It comes down to what are we gonna have with them? What's on the agenda?
It doesn't matter to me.
There.
I don't care. Does it bother any of you?
I'm
When
here, I'm here on the 13th. I leave the 14th, but I'm here on the 13th, so I
What
can,
about the 6th of September?
I'm here on the 6th.
Oh, good.
Becky?
I'm here.
No
But are we
vacation?
gonna? Well, let me see. Are we gonna have a check register done by the 6th? Okay,
Right, 6th it is.
okay, so we're having it on the 6th. And not on the 13th.
Correct.
Oh, well, that's good, because I'm leaving on the 4th.
Oh, my gosh, you're leaving too?
No, I'm not going.
What country are you going to? Really? You and your hubby? Yeah, wow. Wow.
So there's no village board meeting on the 13th then.
Correct.
I better write that down.
Think we can move the parks meeting to the 6th then too, so I can do them on the same day, maybe?
Well, you have yours at 5 o'clock, didn't you? Yes.
Yeah.
How do you like it? All right. Is it going okay on the park commission?
All right.
That's that.
That was
E,
a good
discussion
Saturday.
only regarding non-metallic mining reclamation ordinance.
It's
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
I had discussed this with you guys, to let you know that right now the county does our reclamation plans and non-mining, our non-metallic. And their quarries, our reclamation plans. With that, comes the fee that every year the quarry pay the county, which is about $10,000 that they pay. I talked to Jeremy for the village, if we want to bring that back, I checked to see what the workload is. He said it's about 2 hours, that's it. 2 hours at this time, do the work. I mean, it'll be a little bit more this first year, but I'll have it all set up for your next person. We would see revenue in 24 and then continue in 25. We collect some extra money from DNR as well and pass that on along. I spoke with the person that helps us on the DNR that works in this department. They actually help us go through the process of getting our ordinance in place and making sure that it meets all of the DNR specs. Got a template to work off of. I'm hoping to get this accomplished in the next couple of months, get into a meeting so then we can, because it'll take about, it takes 45 days for the DNR, they have 45 days to approve it. Could be less, but if you use their template, you don't do too much, it might be quicker. The reason I bring this forward is because if you would like to just stay at status quo, I won't do the work, but if you want to bring in the extra revenue and take some, you have to get that process in place.
And how much would we make from it?
About 10
A year.
Seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, me too.
Direction given. Let's mark together. Becky?
Yep.
Okay.
That's all I was asking.
All right, well, we were gonna, before we go to E, obviously, we're gonna reconvene our closed session. We have nothing else before we go there? Is there a motion to re-enter closed session?
I make a motion to go into closed session.
Is there a second? Second. So we'll have to do a roll call on this again.
You're here.
Okay, roll call vote. Trustee Quinn,
Aye.
trustee Beal,
Aye.
trustee Moonen, trustee Clotecker.
Aye.
President Osterman.
Okay,
Aye.
yes.
I am stopping the recording.